Hi guys, just wanted to do a quick 1,000-mile update on the Yamaha Niken. I've given up calling it a Niken because it just doesn't sound right to me, so a Niken it is. So I thought I'd hang about on the front of it for a minute because I know you guys love the look of it. It's obviously, the looks are obviously subjective. I'm fortunate that I'm in the very small percentage that actually thinks it looks really cool. To me it looks like a transformer type thing, or something that would have been ridden by Judge Dredd or something. I think it looks amazing. I know it's very different, I know it's got an extra wheel, but it's not a trike. I seem to spend my life telling people it's not a trike. The reasons this bike isn't a trike are the two front wheels need to be a certain distance apart for it to be classified as a trike. I don't know what that specification is, but apparently these are too close together to be deemed as a trike, which is fine with me. The other thing is it doesn't stand up on its own. It's the most common question I get asked about this bike. Is at traffic lights, do you have to put your feet down? Yes, you do. There is nothing, no button you press to stabilize the bike so it doesn't fall. It rides like a normal bike. So find me another trike that doesn't stand up on its own. They all do except for this, so this must make it, maybe it's just an individual machine. It's not a bike and it's not a trike. But yeah, so obviously the first thing is the looks of it, and I realise a lot of people can't get past that, which is fine. Then this isn't the bike for you. However, if you can get past it, I've just noticed I've scratched the end of that. Look at that. Sorry, I digress. If you can get past the looks, then I have to say that of all of the 16 bikes that I've owned, not counting the Classic 350, it's a totally different bike, but the V-Stroms, the CB1000R, I've had two of them. All the bikes I've owned, this for me is by far the most fun, the most comfortable, and definitely the most eye-catching. The width of the front apparently isn't any wider than a GS with panniers. Now I'm sure someone's going to look it up, and this is what I've been told. It is wide at the front, there's no getting away from it. I mean, when you're sitting on the seat, that is your view. Quite impressive as far as I'm concerned. But again, lots of people don't like the plastic round top of the forks. They don't like the fact that it's not TFT. They don't like the fact that it's a CP3 engine and not the CP4 engine. In my mind, the CP3 engine is more than enough for this bike. It overtakes pretty quick. I mean, it's plenty quick enough. I mean, it's no different to my V-Strom. So I don't really understand why people think it's underpowered. Well, I do understand. I think it's because the CP3 engine tends to be in lighter bikes. So it's in the MT-09, it's in the XSR 900 and the Tracer 9. So this bike is 263 kilograms. So obviously there's an extra, what, 80 maybe kilograms when you get on this bike. So I kind of understand why people think this is underpowered. But trust me, if you compare it to a V-Strom, it is, I would have said, exactly the same. Let me put the ignition on and you can see the dash. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people complaining about the fact that it's a dated dash. The new Niken that's just come out, the facelift one, has got a TFT dash, but you're going to be paying over £16,000 for that. So yeah, you're paying money to make your choices. So I'm happy with this. It's got all the information you need on it. It's obviously got the gear selector, it's got the petrol gauge, speedo, rev counter along the top. Shows you if the quick shifter's on. It's got everything. It's got outdoor temperature, engine temperature. So what else do you really need? It's got 3 power modes. The power modes are easily changed by that button there. You slide it. You slide it over. I don't know if it'll work when it's stationary. Let's see. Yeah. So 1 is sport, 3 is rain. I've never used, and 2 is road. Simple as that. It's got cruise control. Really, really easy to use. All the buttons are on the left. As I said, it's got a quick shifter. It's a up quick shifter only, it's not a blipper. But it's silky smooth, the quick shifter. It's really, really nice. The clutch is mega light, which is perfect for me because of my arthritis in my finger. The mirrors, I've got the indicators built in. Can you see that? Yeah. And when you first get this bike, it feels like the mirrors are absolutely miles away, but you get used to it very quickly. You can see everything behind you, and then when you put it away in the garage, you just flip them forward. Can't believe I've scraped that. There you go. Even looks good with the mirrors folded. Let's put the mirrors back up. So it's LCD lights, LCD indicators, 15-inch front wheels, there's 2 of them in case you didn't see, 17-inch rear. I think the back end looks absolutely incredible. When you walk up to the bike like that, you do feel like Judge Dredd. Well, I do. Yeah. The seat is 820mm high. I'm 6'4". Obviously I can flat foot it, but I have to say that the seat is really wide. So if you're under, I don't know, maybe 5'10", sit on one first, because that makes it, I think, harder to tip. It's harder to put your feet down because the seat's so wide. But it is mega comfortable, as apparently is the pillion. My other half's been on this and says it's very comfortable. Negatives that I've found out in my brief ownership. I don't know if it's a negative. It depends who you are. The biggest thing about this bike is the attention that it draws. You get pointed at, you get people just staring at you. I had someone filming me when I was parked waiting at traffic lights in London the other day. Every time I've got fuel for the bike, someone has come over, asked me about it. Everybody wants to sit on it, everybody wants to ask questions about it. And usually, well, not usually, all the time actually, people I've met, and I've met a lot of people who want to look at this bike, every time they've been really interested in it, and not insulting, nothing negative about it, they're just intrigued. And let's face it, how many of you guys have seen a Niken actually out in the wild? I bet you haven't, because I hadn't. Obviously there's a couple of you I know that have got them, so you have, but as a rule you never see them. So when there is one around, other bikers and members of the public who don't ride really are intrigued by it. So if you're not wanting attention, or you haven't got time to chat to people, then this definitely isn't the bike for you. I have received, as I've mentioned in previous videos, or a previous video, I have received quite a few negative and abusive comments about the bike. They don't bother me. I'm strong enough and happy enough in my own mind to know that I've made the right decision and that I don't look stupid riding it, and I know what this bike can do. So I just feel sorry for the ignorant people that have never actually even sat on one, that feel that they can comment on about what was the point of this bike. Take this bike out, put it in some twisties, and literally straight away you will know what this bike is all about. It gives you I think 80% better grip on the front. 45-degree lean. It's the first bike I've ever scraped pegs on, and that's not me showing it off. I'm really not that sort of rider, but this bike gives you the confidence and makes you want to really go for it in the corners. So that makes this bike so much fun. I mean, that's the thing, it really inspires confidence, which makes you do stuff that probably you wouldn't do on a two-wheel bike, and it's fun. So, other negative points. The screen. Right, the screen is absolutely useless. I have ordered a double bubble tinted screen. Hopefully that will be a bit better. I'm used to riding naked bikes, so I mean, it's not a massive issue, but I can see why people who've reviewed this bike have said that this screen is terrible. The GT version of the pre-facelift, I think, has got a much better screen. It comes, I think, quite a lot higher. Something about there maybe. But to me that spoils the lines. I know you're all looking at me thinking, what lines? It's a ugly bike, but I love it. So yeah, I'm going to get a new screen because that screen is useless. I suppose the other thing is the weight. 263 kilograms, I think it is, around about that. I mean, it is heavy. When you're on it you don't feel it, but it is a heavy machine, and I think yeah, if you struggle pushing bikes in and out of garages, then you will definitely probably have a problem with this. I don't, so it's fine, but I can feel the weight when I'm pushing it, so that's something to bear in mind. Right, what else can I say negative about the bike? It's hard because, as you can tell, I'm really quite in love with this bike. It's doing about 45 miles to the gallon, which is fine, I think, for me. I have been, since it's been serviced, I've been sort of not ragging it, but I've been opening it up a bit more. But yes, I really recommend, if you can get past that, then I recommend you take one out for a test ride, because if you can get past that, I think once you've taken one out for a test ride, you'll want one. I honestly do. And it doesn't matter to me if people want to call it a trike or whatever they want to call it. I don't know why people call it a trike. Say, oh, you know it's a trike, mate. But as if that's an offensive thing to say to me. I don't care if it's a trike. All right, it's a trike. Yamaha call it a motorbike. Legally, it's called a motorbike because the wheels are too close together. But if you want to call it a trike, it's a trike. It really doesn't bother me. But yeah, take one out, guys. I'll start him up because he sounds lovely. It's got a CP3 engine, for God's sake. He has been warmed up, by the way. Sounds fine to me. I don't know if they do aftermarket exhausts, but I won't be changing it. I think it sounds fine. I think one thing that probably you don't get from videos is this is a big bike. I went out with a friend of mine who I sold the XSR 700 to the other day, and they were next to each other, and I got back on the XSR 700 and it just felt like tiny, absolutely minuscule compared to this. So it is a big old beast. And I just thought of one more negative thing, and I'm sure you guys have already thought of it. It's filtering. So filtering on this is obviously not as easy as if you're on a CB 500, but you can do it. It just takes a little bit of more caution, really. I didn't get that scratch from filtering, I hasten to add, as you might have gathered from the colour. Yeah. So filtering, you have to get used to it, but it's not a deal breaker in my eyes. I work in London and I've ridden this into work and filtered on the M25 as well, and it's been fine. So yeah, you just have to be a little bit more careful. Alright guys, this is a long video for me. Thank you once again for everyone that's left the comments about their favourite colour of the 350 Classic. If you haven't, please can you, because I think I've got over 50 so far, so it'd be great to get as many as possible, and on a Sunday we'll see what comes out top. Alright guys, have a great week, and I'll catch you on the next one. Ride safe.